what's the most exciting thing about winning? It's when you win. I love that feeling.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know who this be, it's your girl KylerB coming at you for a new video. So today we're going to be talking about Love Island USA Season 4 Episode 13, and let's get right into the video. All I'm going to say is, what did I just say? What did I said previously? I said Timmy knows where home is. He knows where home is, so he's going to return home, okay? He didn't get lost. You know, Zimmy's going to be back, and Zimmy came back, okay? Like, I was not going to lose. Like, hello? Like, we don't know what losing is getting. But I already knew that Zimmy was going to be back. I mean, it was quite obvious with, you know, what was being said. You know, it was very obvious. So obviously the episode starts, you know, Timmy... Well, it started with, you know, Zeta and Jeff having a conversation. And she basically said that she has to have a talk with Timmy to see where he is at, you know, because she still has a lot of feelings for him and all that stuff, to see if she can give Jeff her all, because obviously with that little game that was played, it just wasn't, wasn't it. Sydney and Isaiah get a text for the Hideaway, and they go into the Hideaway, get ready, all that stuff. And then after that, it comes back to, like, I guess they clipped it, comes back to Zeta and Timmy already talking. So we don't know who pulled who for a chat, but they were already talking. So she was just asking him, like, you know, do we still have feelings for me? You know, is your feeling stronger than what you have with Bria? And he said yes. He said yes to both of them. And, you know, it was like, he was like, oh, he wanted to talk to Zeta before the recoupling. But I guess Zeta wasn't, like, he just never had the chance to have a conversation. So Zeta was like, oh, what would you say? What would you say? So then next thing you know, you have Bria and Jeff over here on one side talking, and Bria's like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this. Like, they're just having a chat, and she's already in her feels. I mean, granted, the chat was basically solidifying that Zimmy was going to be back together. But they're just talking, and you're like, I can't do this. I can't do this. So Jeff's like, no, don't go over there. Don't go over there. Like, what are you doing? Like, calm down. Next thing you know, they're talking. And then next thing you know, he basically, amped her up to go. He's like, oh, you can go have a chat. So then while in between Timmy and Zeta having a talk, Bria comes walk up to Timmy and Zeta. And she's like, you know, I see where this is going, da 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 da. And she just asked Timmy, like, straight out, like, oh, you know, is this what you want? And Timmy's like, well, yeah. He's like, yeah, I still have a stronger feeling with Zeta, you know, and yeah, basically, ultimately, yeah. So she basically, you know, walks off and goes to the dressing room and starts crying. Mind you, it was Maddie and Courtney in the dressing room, and I think even Deb was there. And they're like, oh, what happened? What happened? All Courtney was doing was just wiping off her makeup, because Courtney is #1 Zimmy stan. Like, she really did not care. Courtney was just like, no, you're crying? Oh, you're crying? Like, Courtney did not care. Like, she didn't even go over to comfort her. Like, she's like a Zeta defender, and then she was a #1 Zimmy stan. Like, I'm just joking with these names, but, like, she really just rides for Zeta. So she's not gonna come back and be like, oh, Bria, there. Like, nobody even went over to comfort her. They were just like, oh, you're crying? And then Courtney over here is, like, wiping off her makeup because she rides for Zeta. Like, she ain't gonna go over there to comfort you. Which was hilarious, because it's like, wow. Like, you just see the difference. You know, Zeta goes have a conversation with Jeff, basically say that, you know, Timmy basically still wants to pursue this relationship, and, you know, my heart is still always been with Timmy, and, you know, they basically chalked it up as being friends. I mean, I think the only thing that Zeta did that was a little wrong was that she was basically saying, like, oh, she still had feelings for Jeff, which was kind of like a little bit of salt in the wound, because I'm just like, it wasn't necessarily needed, but it is what it is. Obviously, he even said, like, you know, you don't have to say that, but seemed like Jeff, you know, liked Zeta, whatever, and you know that was nice. But they end up becoming friends, you know, ended up with a hug, all that stuff. So then everybody's going to sleep. Everybody's going to sleep. Bria comes in the bed and she tells Timmy like, oh, you should I think you should sleep outside tonight. So like Timmy's like, oh, okay. And then before that, Chaz goes talks to Timmy like, oh, you know, once you left, you know, you can't go back. And he's like, oh, okay. Like, I'm just like, I don't think Timmy's gonna go back to Bria after that. I mean, he wasn't necessarily 100% on Bria, but whatever. So, you know, he goes out to sleep outside, and then Zeta like tells the girl, she's like, you know, I'm gonna go join Timmy outside. So he goes to join Timmy outside, and you know they're sharing it. Like Timmy's like, oh, he's so surprised. Like, you gonna sleep out here with me? He's like, you know, she's like, I'm not gonna sleep out here with sleep in there with Jeff while you're out here by yourself. So obviously they slept outside, and like that's like, you know, being their number ones to each other type thing. Like that's how deep their connection was. Like what went into that. So then we have Isaiah and Sydney in the Hideaway, and like bro, hello, sorry, but they were doing stuff like Love Island. This season just seems like a low budget Love Island, like I'm telling you, because I was like, what? But yeah, they were doing stuff. You know, Zeta and Timmy were kissing, all that stuff. I don't know what Deb and Jesse were doing. I don't know who was doing whatever, but you know, everybody seemed like they were just, you know, comfortable in their little couples. Besides, you know, Jeff and Bria. So then next morning we get to you know, Deb getting a text to go on a date with Jesse, so they go off to their date. Then, you know, Isaiah and Sydney come back from their hideaway, a little talk about it, So then Zeta, being the nice lady that she is, you know, being the nice girl that she is, she goes up to Bria and, like, you know, talks to her, basically says that, you know, she's sorry for, like, you know, the position that, you know, Timmy put her in, you know, she feels bad that, you know, she was crying and all that stuff. It is basically just trying to cheer her up, because especially if once you see the other girls didn't even cheer her up like that, it had to be Chaz to come, like, you know, comfort her while she was crying, because I don't think any of the other girls really cheered her up like that. I mean, I'm not sure, we didn't see that. But, you know, Zeta came to, you know, give her a hug and just basically said that, you know, it was kind of heartbreak and stuff like that. So then later on that day, like, Timmy, you know, pulls Bria for a chat as well and says, like, you know, he's sorry for, you know, making her feel that bad and stuff like that. And she's like, you know, when you get rejected and stuff like that. My thing with Bria that's just like, is just not gonna give, is that she just kind of feels like she has something over Zeta, or it shouldn't have been like that. And like, oh, she, you know, it really wasn't like that. Like, your brother picked Timmy for you because you obviously like Timmy. It wasn't like he wanted to pursue you. There was no pursuing, I mean, from Timmy's side at all. I think Timmy was just trying to be respectable and trying to give you some type of percentage. But obviously, he said that, you know, he still has feelings for Zeta, and he's been telling you that from jump. Now, the only reason why he kind of been like, oh, try to act like he's big and bad was after recoupling. He was like, oh, because you chose Jeff, oh, I'm going to give you 100%. But obviously that little game that they had and the conversation after the game that he had with Zeta obviously got himself some sense, and he was like, oh yeah, definitely Zeta, because obviously. But, you know, Timmy wasn't really pursuing you. He was just giving you some type of percentage. And then, you know, he was kissing you in bed and all that stuff, but I don't see there was no pursuing on that part at all. Now, you upset, then trying to be like, oh, I can't believe he did this to me or led me on, Anyway, I don't really know. And she just has, like, some type of bitterness, I don't know, towards him and Zeta. So, obviously, it's at nighttime, and I guess it's a neon party type thing. And, you know, all the couples are talking, you know, Isaiah and Sydney are talking, you know, basically seeing like, oh, whatever that they did in the Hideaway, does it like further their connection? Maddie and Andy are talking, you know, whatever, rekindling their connection or whatever. Who else? So then comes to Zeta, and Zeta basically says that like Timmy's her number one, even over the girls. Timmy's like, yeah, you're my number one too. Da 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 da.
Do you? Yeah. Anything that will try to taint this is gonna get shunned away. That's how I feel. Like I'm gonna really just shoot all that shit away.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Nothing. I'm just like.
Say that you'll be here. Say that you'll be here till the end.
I think now I know for sure that you.
So say that you'll be here till the end. Say it like you mean. Till the end.
I miss you so much when you were with her.
And they start kissing. The whole villa sees them. They're like cheering and rooting for them because the whole villa basically wanted Timmy and Zeta to be together. Like, don't, like, come on, be real. The whole villa wanted them to be together. Like, everybody in that villa except for, I guess, Bria. And I guess even Jeff was like, well, if that's what you want, just go get it. Like, even Jeff was like, you know, had to be real about that. You know, Sarah Hyland comes in and basically was telling them that the couples vote. So, obviously, I would just jump to the chase. The couples that were in the bottom were Bria and Timmy, and Andy and Maddie. So, and then the Islanders get to pick one girl and one guy to save out of the two. They could save Timmy for Zeta, because obviously after the whole villa seeing them, you know, kiss in front of the whole villa and have this, like, really strong connection, and them wanting to be together, they obviously save them. And then Bria because they feel bad. Maddie and Timmy can kick rocks. Isaiah was definitely mad at Andy, so I don't think he's going to be a vote for, you know, Andy to be saved. So that's just like, you know, right there and that. Also, to continue off of, I would say Jeff was definitely speaking some words in that villa. You know, he told, you know, Bria, don't let no other, you know, no man make you cry like that. Because she was boo-hooing crying over, you know, Timmy. And I'm just like, I don't think it was that deep, but you know, everybody's emotions are different, but I just feel like she was definitely giving hater, like, wow, the whole villa's like cheering for Timmy and Zeta, she's over here like, well, and like Jeff's like, well, what? Like, come on, like, at least be happy for the girl. I mean, you come in, break up a happy home, like I said, and then you might get upset because now they're back together. I mean, and you were, you know, a casualty in that. I'm just like, you want to see like, oh, I'm better than you, and obviously he's not gonna stray, da-da-da-da. And then comes back, he knows where home is. Like, don't get upset. And then, obviously, she said, I guess the previous episode that, you know, she liked Jeff. And, you know, in that one challenge, she wished it was her and Jeff. So I'm just like, okay, obviously, you know, Jeff was like, oh, yeah, well, since you're done with Timmy, you know, she was like, oh, I've been feel this connection from when you came into the villa. So obviously she's trying to go pursue Jeff. So, I mean, I guess, you know, the obvious choices to save is Timmy and Bria. I mean, as an obvious choice, you know, Andy and Maddie can basically leave the villa. And like I said, Zimmy is up. Like, we won. I mean, I feel like they're set, you know. I mean, hopefully, you know, after what Isaiah and Sydney did, they're set. I would say Courtney's a real one. Courtney's been a real one, though, because, like, she was saying, did you snog? She'd asked Deb, did she snog Jesse? Like, she definitely using Zeta's lingo. Like, Zeta really influences a lot of the girls, though, in that villa, or all the girls in that villa. So, yeah, this was a really good episode. Like, yeah, like, this was a good episode. Like, Zimmy's up. Zimmy, hi, where you at? Zimmy Hive, where you at? But for real. But anyway, guys, if you like this video, like the video, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, comments, concerns, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. Peace.